If I do my part, God would come through in miraculous ways. Around 2011, I started doing everything in my power to make money, generally to buy the things for my calling. I would look for and fix broken and abandoned things and pick up cans to make money. It wasn't glamorous, but it worked. One day, me and my best friend Chance were looking to get some Bibles to hand out to people for free, but Bibles weren't cheap, and we didn't have the money. So we prayed. We eventually found that Dollar Tree sells Bibles for $1 a piece, but we still needed money. One Sunday, Chance was driving me home from church when we stopped at a red light, where I found myself being filled with the strangest urge to get out of the car and walk the rest of the way home. So I did. I prayed to God, asking Him to guide me to where He wanted me to go. Every street corner I reached, I would stop and pray, and He would point me towards which direction He wanted me to go, and I would go there. At one point I started to wonder if this was random, so I prayed to God, "What is the purpose of all of this?" I barely walked 1 block before I found my answer. As I was walking, I looked down and found a $20 bill. It was stuck in the leaves that had washed down the road from the rain we had recently. Saturday of the next week, I walked to Dollar Tree and bought as many Bibles as I could with the money. Many months later, I was again in need of money for another project. And again, in response to my prayers, I found a $20 bill on the ground. Curious, I later dug up the receipt from the Bibles I previously bought, and I found that I had found the two $20 bills exactly 1 year apart. After that, I started to find money laying around on the ground often. At first, I thought maybe somebody noticed me walking around town and started leaving cash for me to find, but I ruled that out. Given the fact that it was impossible for somebody to sneak up on me without me noticing, and that I would often find the cash in odd places, like in the middle of the highway, in the gutter, random parking lots with nobody around for miles, in other states where nobody knew me, and that almost every time I found cash it was on a really windy day, making it illogical to leave it out in the open where the wind could easily blow it away before I could find it. I concluded that it had simply blown in from somewhere else through some sort of act of God. I also found a pattern. I noticed that every time I found cash there were 3 different things that had to be happening simultaneously. 1, I would only find cash when I needed it. 2, when I had been working as hard as I could trying to make money but was failing. And 3, when I was praying for it. I would find cash when those 3 things were happening. Whether I find the money because it blew in from somewhere else, or somebody left it for me because God had laid upon their hearts to do so. Either way, God had willed that I find the money for me to use for His purposes. Years have passed and I now have a proper means to make money, so I no longer need the money I find. But when I do find money, God has laid upon my heart to give it to those in need. To date, I have found cash on more than 3 dozen separate occasions, 12 of which occurred just in the last year. In the end, God showed me that if I did my part, He would come through in miraculous ways.